What's going on, everyone? We hope you had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. Thank you all so much to those who have served, and we have a very exciting week ahead of us in the stock market. NVDA stock is blasting towards its record highs. Bitcoin and Ethereum are going crazy, and we have a whole lot of things happening in the market. So I have a feeling this week's going to be another good one. So Tom, let's jump right into it.
Yeah, the market was pretty wild last week, Mike. The SPY actually ran up to new all-time highs in pre-market on Thursday. Ran up to like that 534 mark before closing Thursday, all the way down around like 525, 526, hitting lows midday around like 524.80. So we saw like a 10-point drop there on SPY on Thursday, and then Friday, it started getting right back to that chop zone, right around the 530 resistance. We can see last week that there was just so much chop on the SPY between like 530 and 532. It was pretty much stuck there all week long. So I'm going to keep watching this area very, very closely for more up and down price action. I know a lot of traders were getting kind of frustrated with some of that sideways trading last week, but be adaptable out there. Each day is going to be different. You could catch maybe opportunities off the top of that range or off the lower ends. But Mike, the biggest stock right now is NVIDIA. Everyone's talking about it. They had great earnings last week, and they're continuing even higher here. I know everybody is really hyped up about the split that will be happening on June 7th. And that split is a 10-to-1 split. I know that's going to make people so much happier, Mike, whenever this stock is down around $100 a share. I don't know about you, but I think it could end up driving in quite a bit of quite a bit more traders, obviously, as the price is lower. It'll definitely entice a lot more retail traders out there.
Yeah, and the options will definitely be a whole lot cheaper as well. But like you said, the split is going to go into effect after close on June 7th, which is a Friday. So basically, the split will happen starting on June 10th. That is when the main changes happen. But what we see a lot of times with splits is people get so hyped up about the split where sometimes they kind of lose connection on how they actually work. Like, what's worth noting is that the split changes nothing about how much a company's worth or anything like that, but it does make its shares cheaper. So when playing a stock split situation like this, if you want to play to the upside, that's totally fine. But understand the split doesn't do anything to actually change the company in any major way. It's just sometimes when there is a split, the stock gets so much extra hype that comes into it and ends up pushing it even higher. So just keep that in mind. But either way, NVIDIA is going insane right now.
It really is, Mike, and I actually just went back on the chart to look at the last time it split, which was right around Tuesday, July 20th in 2021, and you can actually see that after that split, the stock ended up doing very, very well for the next, 3 to 6 months. Now, I'm not going to say that that's going to happen again, but that is kind of the price action that played out last time with NVIDIA. Of course, every single time is different, and depending on what stocks you look at and which splits, you might even see some bad movement to the downside. Like, I know I can actually go to Tesla and go back to the last time that they split, Mike, and let's just say it wasn't the best reaction, right? Like, they split up here and then the stock started tanking. So don't sit here and think that, hey, a split means that this stock has to explode. We can obviously see on Tesla's chart right now that is not the case all the time. So I'm definitely going to keep watching this very, very closely, Mike, with NVIDIA. But as June 7th and June 10th approaches, that's going to be very interesting here. This is a very crazy stock. It's above $1,000 a share, and it's the most popular one out there right now. So I would not be surprised if it did continue up here in the short term, but I'm not necessarily going to attribute a lot of the, I guess after the split, post-split, I'm not going to really attribute a lot of that price action to necessarily oh my gosh, we're moving because of the split, right? I still think a lot of it has to do with the company and valuation, as you said.
No doubt. The split's kind of like the cherry on top, right? To bring in that extra hype after the crazy numbers that we saw at this quarter's earnings report. But either way, keep a close eye on NVIDIA in the short term. Again, it's at record high, so there's not too much resistance to watch out for, but it's more so just about a game of momentum and following the money, right? For as long as we see, the stock putting constant upside pressure or constant pressure on its highs, as well as good news flowing in and just good momentum with the stock, that makes the stock go up even more. And at the same time, once the hype dies out and once it starts selling off, it's just important to remain adaptable and as always, have stop losses in place. But another group of securities, or you could say cryptos, that have been going crazy lately is Ethereum and Bitcoin, but specifically Ethereum right now. Ethereum had some recent news about some spot ETFs set to release pretty soon. So for those who remember, just a couple months ago, Bitcoin had its own spot ETFs approved, and a handful of them, and that was a pretty big move, not only for Bitcoin in general, but it was also a pretty good catalyst for Bitcoin as a whole. But Ethereum is basically seeing the same thing right now, and it's starting to move up in a pretty big way. As we all know, the crypto market doesn't close, unlike the stock market. So keep an extra close eye on Ethereum right now, but also keep a close eye out for these spot Ethereum ETFs that should debut eventually.
Yeah, those are pretty funny, Mike. And whenever I start to look at like the crypto stocks and I start to think about like, hey, what are going to be some of the fun ones to play in the future, right? Like everybody always talks about Coinbase right now and Mara and Riot, and I still love the volatility on those types of stocks, but I'm really glad that we're finally getting these ETFs to finally trade these cryptos in a better way, right? Like on a more like one-to-one basis, or like an actual basis with Bitcoin, rather than having to worry about like all of Mara's news or Coinbase's news or etc. We can just focus on Bitcoin itself actually, or Ethereum, which is actually really awesome, I think. So I'm really glad that they're getting this done, Mike, and it's just another good step in the right direction for crypto traders out there. And hey, if you guys out there trade crypto and you like this, let us know in the comments. We might talk about crypto a little bit more over the next couple of years, I'm sure, Mike, is it's going to probably be a little bit more mainstream in the stock and options market. But looking at Ethereum here, it's actually running up towards recent highs, which are right around that $4,095, you might as well just say $4,100 mark. So honestly, it looks like if there's a couple more good green days here, it might be making new highs, which would be pretty interesting, at least new recent highs. Going back over the last couple years, looks like the all-time highs up around like 4,800, 4,900. So we'll definitely be watching that closely, Mike, but it's a very interesting situation to see the SEC finally coming around on crypto a little bit.
I'm waiting so patiently for the day that we get options on some of these crypto spot ETFs. Like, eventually it'll happen, but it's just a matter of how long. But either way, great stuff there. But whether you're looking at NVDA or the S&P 500 or Ethereum or Bitcoin or anything else, things are doing pretty well right now, and we're definitely seeing a summer rally, and this isn't necessarily an uncommon thing. As we can see by looking at this chart right here, when we go all the way back to 1950, we can see that historically the summer months of June, July, and August have tended or have done pretty well in the past during election years. So that's great to see. And, we're just starting out June right now. So assuming that history, stays in line with its average, these next couple months can be pretty good.
Yeah, they really could. That's some good stats there, Mike. And I know that we always like to go back and look at the historical data. And of course, it doesn't always play out that way, but it is pretty reassuring to see that June, July, and August are this good. And we just had a pretty good May. So I'm definitely glad that June, July, and August are looking like this. And whenever I go out to the SPY and I go to like an hourly chart or I go to a daily chart, we did just recently get towards that all-time high around 534. And I don't know, Mike, how much more longer are we going to continue on this run, right? It seems like NVIDIA is just never stopping. We're getting more hype out of the cryptos now, too, and a lot of other tech stocks are starting to do good in the short term, like Microsoft and Apple and others are also starting to rip here in the short term. So it's a good thing to see across the market, right? It's definitely making bulls very, very happy, and I know that whenever the market gets to all-time highs, it can go on these runs for quite a while. Now, it might not just be all like sunshine and rainbows, like straight up, but, if we go back to the past, like whenever SPY was running to new all-time highs, like in 2021 and 2022, like just look at how nice and consistent some of these nice like uptrends were. So I don't know, Mike, I don't know how long we're going to continue on this uptrend, but in the short term, I'm definitely not turning into a bear until I start to see, some more defining movement to the downside. That's for sure.
No doubt, and even looking at the heat map from Friday, there were about 71% of stocks in the S&P 500 that closed in the green. And as you mentioned earlier with NVIDIA, like when you have it moving to the upside like it is right now, it's going to be hard to have the market fall. Like unless we were to see these big tech stocks roll over, the market just has a lot of like upwards momentum working on its side right now. But either way, of course, it's always important to remain adaptable, but you have to keep a very close eye on these big tech stocks because they are just they're running the market right now. There's no better way to say it than that.
Yeah, they really are. And, they have some of the biggest weightings out there. And I keep seeing these memes all over the place with NVIDIA, Mike, and they have been making me crack up lately. Like, NVIDIA is really propping up the entire economy right now. I know a lot of traders think that. And, man, it's definitely something that I'm definitely keeping my eye on in the short term. But I figured I'd throw this out there because, NVIDIA has been so influential lately. It's this meme definitely is one of the better ones, Mike. This might be true in some sort of ways.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But Tom, for the rest of this week, or for this week, I should say, what do we have in terms of earnings and then the economic schedule?
Yeah, so earnings are actually going to be pretty interesting this week. We have Chewy reporting on Wednesday before the market opens. That's going to be a big one, Mike. We've been watching that one quite a bit. It's not going to be the biggest stock out there, but that is definitely a interesting one I will be watching. And then on Wednesday and after hours, we actually have Salesforce and AI, which are two pretty big companies there. I'll keep my eyes on those. And then Thursday, we have Canopy Growth, one of the most popular marijuana stocks over the past couple of years, CGC, for anyone who doesn't know what Canopy is. And then Thursday and after hours, we have Costco, and MRVL, which is a chip stock. So there's quite a bit going on this week. Like, I know there's nothing like NVIDIA or Apple, but I'll say this, Salesforce, AI, Costco, and MRVL are pretty damn big.
There we go. And then for the economic schedule, it's not too much of a crazy week. Like there's GDP data on Thursday before open, and then there's PCE data on Friday before open, but for the most part, that's basically it. So let's get right into some setups and predictions for tomorrow. A stock I'm watching very closely is Enphase right now, and it is to the upside. So this is a solar-related company, and basically solar stocks have been moving in a very great way over like the past week or so. FSLR is another one that has just been going insane. Like you look at this price action over the past couple days on FSLR, and it's hard. It's better than almost anything else in the market right now, besides maybe NVIDIA. But either way, the solar industry is crushing it right now. I'm looking at Enphase specifically just because I like the price action the best, and I'm watching it to the upside. I would love to see a break back to that, you could say like $127 and 50 cent area, and then just a continuation higher. But either way, this stock is close on my radar.
Yeah, I really like that upcoming resistance. I think we could see a good break up towards 130 or higher. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on Enphase, Mike. These solar stocks are wild, and Enphase isn't it's more around lows. It's not already popped 80% over the past 5 days, right? So that's pretty cool to see with Enphase. I'm glad. Hopefully, it can keep up with this nice price action in the short term, get some good breakout opportunities. And something else that would be nice to see move up in the short term still is AMD. This is a pretty wild stock. It started to run up a little bit on Friday, but on Thursday, they actually got hit pretty hard. But I'm watching a couple levels here with AMD. So as they fell on Thursday, they actually bounced off a major support around the 158 to 160 mark. And flipping over to the book map on AMD, you can see how 160 is actually a pretty good support all the way down there. And as far as resistance here, I'm watching 168 to 170. So if we can get a true breakout tomorrow morning above that 170 mark, I will continue to watch this one back up. I think it could end up recovering. I really do like that support down here. There's been a couple bounces right there. So if we do see a continuation out of tech overall, I will be watching AMD up. I will say though, it's a bit of an outlier, right? It hasn't been running up like NVIDIA or anything like that, but I do like that support there on the book map.
All right, sounds great. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is Robinhood to the upside. This one has been moving in a pretty good way over like the past couple weeks and even the past couple months. It is getting closer to its recent highs, right around like the $21 area. There's a lot of resistance right there, and assuming we could see a good breakthrough of that, and even like a breakthrough like the $21.50 area, that will be important. So either way, there's been a lot of strength with this name in the short term, and we're getting closer to recent highs. So if we see a breakout, things can get extra exciting with this one.
That would be awesome with Robinhood. That's a pretty wild stock, Mike, and I know that it can end up making for some pretty enticing short-term plays, so I'll definitely be watching that one as well. One of my favorite stocks over the longer term has been Disney over the past couple years. I've been buying them up as they've been low, like down around like the 90, 95 mark, somewhere around there. Anywhere under there, I'm pretty much a buyer, but they've been falling a lot in the short term with their earnings. And when I say a lot, I mean, for a company like them to, dip down like 15% in just a couple weeks is pretty insane. So I'm definitely going to watch that $100 support here on Disney. They're right at that key level. It's a psychological level as well. And there's going to be a lot of buyers there at 100. So keep your eyes on Disney. I'm watching it back to the upside for the next couple weeks. This isn't necessarily a play for tomorrow, but maybe just for like the week in general, right? I'm really looking for like a nice recovery over like the next 5 to 10 days. So let's go Disney. It's right at a key support. And we all know, Mike, that $100 is like the most crucial psychological level you could almost have besides $1, but we don't deal with stocks that are only $1.
There we go. All right, Tom, let's jump right into today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have DG to the upside.
Dollar General, pretty interesting stock here. If they can break above 145.50, then I will look at the upside opportunities.
Yeah, and how about the price action with this one on Friday, Tom? Like, it barely pulled back all day long, so there was some serious buying pressure there. But with the next one, we have RUN also to the upside.
Yeah, Sunrun, we haven't heard about this one in a little while, but if it breaks above 13.50 Tuesday morning, then I'll keep looking at it up.
All right, and then with the last one, we have Coinbase for both directions.
Coinbase was wild. They actually had a pretty good day Friday, too, up 8.59%. And if they're able to break above that 240 resistance, then I will look at some upside opportunities on Coin. If they reject there and they start falling under 230, then I will look at opportunities down. So the upside level's 240 and to the downside 230. Nice little 10-point range there. Pretty easy.
There we go. All right, so we have the downside level for a move lower. We have the upside level for a move higher. That's for Coinbase. Don't forget about RUN and then DG as well. These three stocks are on watch for potential day trades tomorrow if and only if they break through the levels Tom listed. The stronger the price action and the more consistent it is, the better the setups become. If these stocks do not break the levels listed, then don't feel the need to play them. We want to take higher quality setups or the highest quality setups possible. And if a setup just isn't doing what it's supposed to do, there's no reason to trade it. It's better to have no trade than a bad trade. But it's now about that time, Tom, for today's $477,000 big money trade of the day. And we are looking at ticker symbol DLO. I'm sure most people have never heard of this company, and I don't blame you. So on Friday, we saw the big money put just under $500,000 into the DLO. Technically, it's a call debit spread, but basically, the big money's betting DLO is going to go up. They bought the 9-strike call options that expire on December 20th of 2024, and they shorted the 14-strike call options that expire on December 20th of 2024. This is a bullish trade where the smart money wants DLO to go up. In a perfect world, they would love it to go to 14 or higher, but they, would be just fine if it also went to like $12 or so. The main thing is the big money wants DLO up. If you don't want to have to deal with trading a call debit spread or anything complicated like that, you can simply trade the 9-strike calls for December 20th of 2024. Looking at this stock, it is pretty oversold. It's at a major support area right around like $9 a share, and overall the risk reward is good. But I'll also say this stock has a whole lot of work to do if it wants a shot at getting anywhere close to 14 over the next couple months.
Yeah, it really does. But I'll say this, Mike, that support has been awesome down there off the bottom. Like some of those moves back up off of this support have been amazing. And I'm not saying it has to happen again. Watch it be, Mike. This is the time the support breaks, right? but I'm definitely going to be watching it very closely. It's $9. And what I love about this play is the risk to reward. I'll say this, even if you didn't want to go with options on this one, I think even just getting shares around like 950, throwing a stop loss around like 880 is an awesome way to go. And if you target like $13 to $14, 15, I mean, you're looking at a great risk reward. And a lot of these bounces off this support last time have resulted in like 100% plus moves both times that it bounced. The first one was actually like 96%, and the second bounce ran up like 164%. So I'm not saying it has to do that again, but even just a nice move, like you said, to like 12 or 14 would be amazing in the short term, and those calls would do great. But I actually like this play quite a bit, Mike, as far as risk reward goes. But I will say this, the chart is pretty wild when you look at the price action.
Yeah, the price action has been wild with this one, but the risk reward is definitely there, so consider keeping a close eye on it going forward. But we're just starting off all of the summer craziness in the stock market, and I have a feeling that this craziness isn't going to end anytime soon, especially as we have the elections getting closer and closer. So that's going to be exciting. If you guys are new to the channel, consider demolishing that subscribe button to get our videos recommended to you more often. We post all the time, in every single video we cover big money plays, we cover charts you won't find anywhere else, predictions, and all the news you need to know to stay informed in this ever-changing stock market. So consider joining the Stocked Up crew and smashing that subscribe button. One other thing is I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Julio, in the Stocked Up Discord. He had a great post on Friday and some great plays with SPX, SPY, and Tesla. So great job to Julio. Keep up all the great work there. And if you're into short-term trading, definitely check out the Stocked Up trading floor. We had a killer play on Thursday with some AMD put options with our hybrid bot. They were alerted at $325 each, and by the end of the day, these things were trading for $1,170 each. So that was a grand slam there. Of course, not every single play increases by 260%, but the bots do pretty dang good. So consider joining the Stocked Up trading floor to get full access to all of our bots. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long, join our weekly live events, access the big money plays before they are posted in these nightly videos, among many, many other things. If you're into short-term trading, it's a place to be. It'll be that first link in the description and the comments down below. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's crush it this week.